are this afternoon's top stories. New Deputy Speaker to be sworn in at National Assembly on Friday. Department of Youth Empowerment hosted Island Bike Run, and Guyana to strengthen its borders. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Monday, the 14th of November 2016. I am Shaira Flanders. Nationally, Senator Akila Byron Nisbet will be sworn in as the second Deputy Speaker when the Parliament convenes for a special sitting on Friday, November 18th, 2016. Speaking at his most recent town hall meeting at the Violet Petty Primary School in Lodge Project on Sunday, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris confirmed that Senator Byron Nisbet will be the next Deputy Speaker under the 21-month-old administration. Senator Byron Nisbet's elevation as Deputy Speaker follows on the heels of Senator Michael Perkins, who was elevated to Speaker of the National Assembly from the Deputy Speaker position after Speaker Franklin Brand's resignation was declared in May of this year due to his ill health. Mrs. Byron Nisbet was appointed Senator in the National Assembly by the Governor-General, His Excellency Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, on October 26, 2016 at a ceremony at Government House in the presence of Prime Minister Harris, other government ministers and officials, and family and friends. Mrs. Nisbet holds a Master's of Science degree in Computer Information System from Quinnipiac University, Connecticut, and a Bachelor's of Science in Information Systems Management from the University of South Florida. The Division of Teacher Education at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, or CFBC, recently held its Professional Development Day under the theme Integrating Technology and Embracing Inclusion for Better Schools. Several lecturers in the Division of Teacher Education attended the educational forum, which was spearheaded by Mrs. Joycelyn Archibald Pennyfeather, Dean of the Teacher Education Division at CFBC. Mrs. Dolores Stapleton Harris, Vice President, Academic and Student Affairs, in brief remarks, underscored the importance of lecturers undergoing ongoing professional development in order to improve their craft, which redounds to successful instruction, assessment, and positive outcomes in the classroom. Mr. Lesroy Williams, Adjunct Lecturer at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College and Director General of the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, SKNIS, outlined to the lecturers that technology is an ever-present tool that is the new renewable energy needed. Mr. Fitzroy Wilkin, Curriculum Specialist at CFBC, underscored the implementation of integration ICT in the classroom. Mr. Wilkin also spoke to issues of ethics with using technology and how technology must be carefully monitored so that it does not become a tool for distraction. A working session on barriers to inclusion was presented by Eleanor Phillips, Senior Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Education. The activities for Youth Month 2016 continued on Sunday with a youth bike run around the island. Bicycle owners and enthusiasts, both young and old, gathered at the Connery playing field at 6 a.m. to participate in the island-wide bike run, which traveled eastwards via Keon. Upon completing the bike run, Acting Director in the Department of Youth Empowerment, Pierre Liebert, spoke of the aim of the bike run.
Well, we wanted a fun and engaging activity for the young people and not so young people of St. Kitts and Nevis to come out and be a part of, engaged in celebration of Youth Month. And it's investing in the future. We're preparing for the future, investing in our youth. And this morning we invested a lot of energy engaging the young persons in a fun and exciting experience using an avenue that they love, biking.
Liebert said the Department of Youth Empowerment intends to make the bike run an annual activity for Youth Month. Also participating in the bike run was Minister of Youth Honorable Sean Richards, who deemed the activity a success. He spoke of some of the positives that can be realized from the activity.
I think it was a fun activity, but apart from being a fun activity, it provided young persons in particular with the opportunity to showcase their biking skills, to get them to partake in some physical activity, and also to bring more awareness to the youth department and to our young people here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Persons who did not own a bicycle were able to access one of 30 bicycles that were made available during the event. 2 registered participants received bikes for their participation in the bike run. Youth Month 2016 continues with activities including the high school's Choir Fest on November 20th and the Daddy-Daughter Dance on November 27th. This year's theme is Preparation for the Future, Investing in Our Youth. And on the regional scene, the U.S. State Department, under the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, will help Guyana strengthen its borders with the aim of reducing all forms of illicit trafficking. Here's more.
Both the Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramjatan, and the Commissioner of Police, Silal Prasad, have sounded their voices in support of President Granger's comment last week that the number of illegal and legal guns should be drastically reduced, leaving firearms mainly in the hands of law enforcement officers. Minister Ramjatan believes the move has the potential to create a safer society and that the president's statement was taken out of context by a few.
And every little statement that is made by the president and even other leading members of this government are going to be twisted. The president is correct in saying that we must have less guns out there, legal and illegal. And I saw nothing wrong with the president's statement, but then of course it's got twisted.
The aim, according to the president, is to reduce the high incidence of gun violence, which the president asserted is priority. Mr. Granger, during his televised program, The Public Interest, said that police have received information suggesting that licensed firearm holders rent their guns to bandits in exchange for some of the proceeds of the crime. The top cop was questioned about this.
Yes, but there are instances also, we have information of security companies that are inherent to business entities are being used for unlawful purposes. Right now we have a murder investigation going on, and one of the lines of inquiry is that a licensed firearm holder have a number of firearms for a security company is renting those guns to persons who are not licensed and who are not authorized to carry them. And one such incident resulted in the death of a person, a murder that we are investigating. So
the issuance of firearm licenses has come into focus. Minister Ramjatan hinted that the issuance of such licenses under the PPP was bad and that his ministry will, on a yearly basis, have a review of licensed firearm holders, which will be conducted by the Commissioner of Police and the Firearm Licensing Board.
We must be a society with less firearms. Those critics that have criticized the president, what they want? Everybody to get firearms? Because they feel that it's going to be cowboy western country like 1870s in Texas. No, we don't want that.
Commissioner Prasad also believes that scaling back on the issuance of firearm licenses is better for the security of citizens.
in the societies where there are less licensed firearms, there are less gun crimes, and that has been the trend. In Guyana, a lot of people who apply for firearm apply because firearm gives them a higher social status. It doesn't give them a higher sense of security, and certainly not security, because 95% of the time when a licensed firearm holder is attacked by a thief or his gun is stolen. 95% of the times his firearm is stolen. And that might have been because of two reasons. One is that he hasn't been training. He's not conscious, security conscious. He has been surprised. And because of that, in other countries, I know a lot of people get killed with their own firearms.
In essence, the President, Minister Ramjatan and Commissioner Prasad are in accord that the whole policy is aimed at getting guns off the streets. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Caribbean citizens will over the next few weeks have the opportunity to get in the know on how to cut their fuel costs while exchanging ideas on solutions to the energy challenges facing the Caribbean as CARICOM Energy Month, or CEM, gets on the way. CEM, a partnership among the Caribbean Community, CARICOM Secretariat, member states, regional institutions and development partners, is intended to celebrate the achievements of CARICOM Energy among diverse segments of the community. It is envisioned that CEM will achieve its objectives by providing platforms for increased awareness on energy matters, given the value of energy to the region's economic development. It is a mix of awareness building and knowledge creation, which will increase the general participation of the citizenry in the regional energy sector. Dr. Devon Gardner, Program Manager for Energy at the CARICOM Secretariat, expressed. CARICOM Energy Month is being celebrated under the theme Sustainable Energy for Sustainable Development. And on the international scene, Trump makes first key White House appointments. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has announced his first key appointments, hoping to appeal to different sides of his party. Al Jazeera's Tom Ackerman reports from Washington, D.C.
In his first post-election TV interview, Donald Trump repeated two of his primary campaign pledges, with a few qualifiers. The big wall he promised to build between the U.S. and Mexico may turn out to look more like the barrier that already partially exists.
For certain areas I would, but certain areas the wall is more appropriate. I'm very good at this. It's called construction.
Trump also said he would deport millions of undocumented immigrants immediately, but not all of them.
What we are going to do is get the people that are criminal and have criminal records, gang members, drug dealers. We have a lot of these people, probably 2 million, it could even be 3 million. We're getting them out of our country or we're going to incarcerate.
That, in fact, is essentially the policy of the outgoing Obama administration, which has sent back or detained at least 2 million foreigners judged to be criminal. As for the millions more people living in the legal shadows, a decision, he said, has yet to be made.
After the border is secured and after everything gets normalized, we're going to make a determination on the people that you're talking about, who are terrific people. They're terrific people. But we're going to make a determination.
Also on Sunday, the president-elect announced his first choices as senior White House aides. Each man represents an opposing side of the Republican Party. Trump's chief of staff, current party chairman Reince Priebus, is a consummate Washington insider regarded as close to House of Representatives Speaker Paul Ryan. Priebus will be tasked with cultivating Trump's working relationship with establishment members of the party like Ryan, whose agendas don't always align with Trump's. In picking Priebus, Trump passed over his campaign chairman, Stephen Bannon, who he named chief strategist and senior advisor. Bannon's fierce criticism of the Republican establishment has been voiced in his internet outlets, which catered to Trump's nationalist, racially charged, and conspiracy-minded followers.
Steve Bannon, in this particular campaign, was the general, and he is much more the Goldman Sachs managing partner and much more the naval officer, I think, than people realize.
Trump said he's saddened and surprised that some of his supporters have been inciting attacks on racial and Muslim minority community members. They should stop, he said.
We reject the president-elect.
Meanwhile, in New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, several thousand protesters marched peacefully against the incoming president for the fifth day. Trump's campaign manager said she was sure some were paid to march. She called on Obama and Hillary Clinton to tell the protesters to accept the results of the election. One high-profile Democrat speaking out loudly and often in favor of American unity these days, Bernie Sanders, the Vermont senator who ran against Clinton for the Democratic nomination. His message to protesters, keep it peaceful. Tom Ackerman, Al Jazeera, Washington.
A 7.8 magnitude earthquake has rocked New Zealand, prompting a tsunami warning and knocking out power and phone services in many parts of the country. Prime Minister John Key said at least 2 people were killed in the powerful tremor. Al Jazeera's Rob Matheson has that story.
A massive earthquake shakes central New Zealand. A frightened man videos the moment his apartment rattles, dishes break, and pictures nearly fall off the wall. This quake was huge, measuring around 7.8. At least 2 people were killed.
Sadly, on the best information we have, there have been 2 fatalities. At this point, we're unable to give you precise information of what caused those fatalities.
This is all that remains of a house where one of those people died. It's near the fishing village of Kaikoura, one of several remote areas hit hardest by the quake. Roads cracked and were blocked by falling rocks. Emergency crews are struggling to get through.
We have military helicopters that are available to us. And NH90 is going to be going down to Kaikoura very rapidly. The area is cut off from a road perspective, but we obviously want to put one of those helicopters down there. There's another one that will be in Wellington. St John's have been flying people in.
The quake struck around midnight local time on Monday night. It was about 23 kilometres deep. The centre was on the northeast coast of New Zealand's South Island. Thousands of people headed for higher ground after the quake triggered a small tsunami with waves around 2 metres high. For many, it brought back memories of 6 years ago, when the nearby coastal city of Christchurch was devastated by a quake which killed 185 people. That measured just 6.3. This latest one was much bigger, but less deadly as well, striking away from large towns and cities. Still, for some New Zealanders, this quake hit far too close to home. Rob Matheson, Al Jazeera.
Taking a look at the weather, current conditions are partly sunny with cloudy skies in general, with a slight chance of a brief shower. Temperatures today will peak at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, with a gentle breeze blowing from the northeast at 10 miles per hour and becoming lighter and increasing up to 70 miles per hour over coastal waters. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis predicts a relatively stable atmosphere will prevail over the Leeward Islands today and tonight. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with a slight chance of a brief passing shower. Seas are slight to moderate with waves reaching up to 5 feet. Sunset today will be at 5:36 p.m. and the sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:16 a.m. That brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Shaira Flanders. Have a good one.